What if I told you the richest person on your street isn't in the Tesla, the Range Rover, or the Bentley? It's the one driving the 15-year-old Ford Fiesta parked outside a semi-detached house. No flex and no flash, just rich and silent. And I know this because I've shared my own portfolio online and have felt the shift, the assumptions and the judgment. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. In the UK, real wealth blends in on purpose. So today I want to break down why getting rich quietly might actually be the smartest move you could ever make, and explore the idea of when you get rich, you should tell no one. Not your neighbors, not your mates, and maybe not even your family. Okay, maybe you can tell your mum. Because the biggest flex is not flashing your money, it's having it quietly. Do you ever scroll past someone's social media feed and feel like you're 3 steps behind because you're not sunbathing in the Maldives, sipping cocktails at an infinity pool, or flying first class on Emirates, like it's your local bus route? Social media has normalized showing off so much that even if you're not just posting a picture of your morning matcha latte, people are wondering if you're okay. But the truth is, most people posting all over social media, they're tired and they're in debt. And that edited snapshot of them living this dream life that they portray is far from the reality of what is really going on in that moment. I mean, think about it. If you've got the time to sit on your phone editing and posting photos of your experiences and purchases rather than enjoying them, something isn't right. The real rich people, or people building wealth, are offline and wearing a jumper that's seen more winters than your boiler, comparing ISA platforms and making spreadsheets for fun. They're quietly stacking wins while everyone else is busy uploading theirs. They spend their money on appreciating assets rather than depreciating ones. Now in Britain, money talk is pretty taboo. It's that old saying, new money shouts and old money whispers. And the people who whisper, they're the ones that are winning. They skip the flash car on finance and funnel that money into index funds instead. They show up in a fleece from M&S, not a £700 hoodie with a logo on it. They aren't performing richness, they're actually rich. Most importantly, they sleep well because they're not trying to keep up with anyone. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you could see a guy down the road driving a brand new Range Rover. He has all of the latest designer gear, big fancy house, the works. But statistically, he might be skint. In reality, he's juggling car payments, maxed out credit cards, and a 35-year mortgage. Meanwhile, next door lives the quiet guy who drives an old car, who wears average clothes, lives in the same house, but this time he's got no debt, his mortgage is fully paid off, his ISA's topped up, and his pensions are sorted. And he's quietly on track to retire early. He's not trying to keep up with the Joneses, he's not posting on social media, he couldn't care less about the latest car on finance or the latest fashion drop, and he's just building wealth silently and probably outpacing everybody else. But the trouble is, these days it's impossible to tell the difference. Who's actually wealthy and who's just financed everything to look like it? It's hard to say, especially when we live in a time where a lot of people in big houses simply bought them decades ago, when prices were a fraction of what they are now relative to earnings. So trying to match that same lifestyle today on a tax salary is near impossible. You're playing a different game with different rules. But if you can tune all of that out and stay focused on your goals, your values, you can live modestly within your means and spend money where it actually makes a difference. As they say, comparison is a thief of joy. So ignore the noise, forget the shiny distractions, and just do you. And hey, if shiny things do bring you happiness, fine, just make sure you can afford them. But don't forget, investing in appreciate assets will take you a lot further in the long run. And if you're building wealth quietly, no flashy cars, no designer labels, just smart financial moves, but where do you park your money to make it work harder for you? Well, enter the sponsor for today's video, XTB. It's a platform that perfectly aligns with a stealth wealth mindset. So why should you use XTB? Well, there's zero commissions on stocks and ETFs. You can invest in over 4,500 real stocks and ETFs with zero commission on monthly turnovers up to €100,000. There's a flexible stocks and shares ISA, so you can utilize your £20,000 annual ISA allowance to invest tax efficiently. You can also earn 4.5% interest on uninvested funds and enjoy freedom to withdraw and reinvest without it affecting your allowance. You can also create investment plans, which are a diversified portfolio of ETFs tailored to your risk and tolerance and your investment goals. You can start with as little as £15 and adjust your plan anytime with no lock-in periods. And best of all, they're authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority and regulated by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, so your money is nice and safe. So to test them out and see the XTB platform for yourself, check out the link down below. Let's get into why not telling anyone you're rich is the move, because of attention, especially the money kind, comes with strings. People will pull on them. There's something called lottery syndrome. Pretty much anyone you asked in the UK would tell you they'd like to win the lottery. Everyone dreams of winning the lottery, but something I've often talked about with people when we discuss the lottery is, would you actually tell people if you won? Think of Michael Carroll, a 19-year-old binman from Norfolk who won $9.7 million in 2002. He said he wanted a modest life, but almost overnight he was surrounded by people asking for favours, handouts and freebies. He bought cars, parties and property, and within 8 years it was all gone. He ended up back when he started, only now with more baggage. Or there was Viv Nicholson. She won the football pools in the 60s and won £152,000, which was a fortune back then, the equivalent to 4.3 million in today's money. She declared she'd spend, and she did. Designer clothes, holidays, cars, but without guidance or boundaries. And the money evaporated, and so did stability in her life. Then there's John McGuinness, a Scottish auxiliary nurse who won 10 million in 1997. He gave £3 million to family, invested heavily in Livingston FC, hoping to turn passion into a legacy. But the club collapsed, and with it his fortune. What started as generosity ended in financial ruin. Now, here's the pattern. It's not just money that ruins people, it's the exposure, the expectations, and the pressure. And in most cases, the lack of a plan, and the presence of a long line of people waiting with their hands out. Now, on top of this, we know financial education is lacking hugely in the UK. So giving people a huge sum of money out of nowhere can be really dangerous. And there's even a name for it. It's called sudden wealth syndrome. It's when people come into money and mentally unravel because they don't know who to trust. Everyone wants something and they feel guilty either way for helping and not helping. And if you're not careful, your life becomes an episode of Who Wants to Emotionally Drain a Millionaire. Now, maybe you haven't won the lottery, but maybe you've done all right. You've saved, made smart choices, avoided lifestyle inflation, and then you start hearing it. It's alright for some. Except, it's not like you tripped over a pile of gold or have a money tree growing in the garden. You earned and saved your way to your position. You skipped the £7 daily iced coffee, you said no to brunch, you kept the same phone for 5 years, you didn't change your car every time finance was due, and you've saved and invested instead. And now you're the one that's rich just for being clever with your money. There's an invisible tax of perception because here's the kicker. Once people think you have money, everything changes. Contractors overquote you when they see your house, scammers will message you, friends and family start asking for a quick favor. You say yes, then you're enabling it. If you say no, then you're selfish. And if you do help someone the next time round, they will expect it. One lottery winner said they found it incredibly difficult because you go from being the same as everybody else to somehow being judged as more even if you don't feel like it. She described how she wanted to buy drinks for people when they went out or pay for food, but she felt like you were either expected to pay for it or you felt guilty if you did offer to pay for it because you thought you were somehow better than them because you were offering to pay for things. So she avoided going out altogether because of the pressure. I even experience it on a much smaller scale because I share my portfolios online to be transparent. And people I know have seen it. I do get branded as the one who's more well off when in reality I've just saved and invested. It's fine, but sometimes when you're meeting people who don't know you and a friend will blurt out, "Oh, it's alright for you because you've got X in the bank," it's not the nicest of experiences. And the reality is, having yourself set up for a decent retirement and having £1 million in the bank as disposable income is very different. And it's the latter most people consider to be right. So you could be a millionaire, but the truth is £1 million isn't what you think. So let's talk about numbers, because £1 million still sounds like a magic number. But let's be honest, it's not what it used to be. I recently worked out that if you retired 20 years from now using the 4% rule, that's £35,000 per year that would hopefully last you 30 years in retirement before tax. After that, you would end up with around £2,500 in your pocket every month. That's got to cover everything, your mortgage, bills, and so on. That accounts for inflation, so you would have the equivalent of that much money in 20 years' time. Now, technically, you would be a millionaire. But is that really what you think of when you think of a millionaire? £2,500 a month. It's pretty wild to think about, but because of inflation, that millionaire status actually becomes worth less every year. But mentally, the expectations around what a millionaire is and what they are doesn't really move in the same way. For example, in the year 2000, being a millionaire was huge, almost as big as it would be today. But being a millionaire in 2000 is the same as someone having 1.8 million today. And every 10 years you go back, that number increases more and more. It was 2.4 million in 1990 or 4.2 million in 1980. So by the time you did become a millionaire in 20 years in the future, that number's worth even less. You're not popping champagne on a yacht, you're paying for broadband, big collection, and budgeting for rising energy bills. That's not rich, it's I'd like to pay for a holiday without putting on a credit card rich. So let's say you do hit that number, what should you spend it on? Well, here's a short list. Things like a great mattress, because sleep is king, A cleaner if you hate cleaning, direct flights because layovers are a form of psychological warfare, a quiet place to live, your peace matters more than square footage. And you know what's not on the list is things like a car that gives you a panic attack when you're parking it, designer anything you're scared to wear, a kitchen with a wine fridge you'll never use. Okay, maybe you'll use it. But if you want the freedom money brings without the hassle, here's your stealth wealth starter kit. Drive a normal car, a used Astra, a Prius, something that doesn't say, look at me, or if you want something fancy, buy it through a business or in some smart, clever way, which is affordable. Dress like yourself and not like a billboard. Avoid posting your life online like it's a pitch deck, and keep your wins private. Tell one person if you need to, and not Instagram. Or find someone equally as driven as you to share your wins with and motivate each other. And learn to say, I'm comfortable, and leave it at that. There's always going to be more or something that's just a bit better that you can stretch yourself to, and that more and more suddenly becomes the norm, and then suddenly you're inflating your entire lifestyle to keep up with that new normal. The truth is, one stealth post is all it takes. You post something like a business class selfie, a fancy plate at a bougie restaurant, a casual watch flash in a mirror, or you briefly mention your portfolio and boom, they know, and now they're doing the math. Well, if he's flying business class, he must be earning X. If she bought that house, I bet she's on 6 figures, and suddenly your life is public property. Your inbox fills up, the comments start, and if you don't share anymore, people notice that too. You don't want to be someone who's on display or judged in that way. Now, I know I'm not one to talk making portfolio updates, but even now I've noticed more and more, the more my portfolio value grows, the more negative comments and judgment I get creeping in. Now, of course, I block them out and ignore it. I'm more than used to it by now. But it's interesting that it does prove the point, and I'm by no means rich. All of the richest people I know don't look it. They move at their own pace because they're not chasing anyone else's timeline. They buy stuff that lasts, they value time, not things, and they're not trying to impress anyone. They're just trying to live well. Because the real things that will make you rich are time freedom, peace of mind, and just being unbothered. You don't need to spend money to feel rich, you need to spend it well. So let me ask you this question. If you got rich tomorrow, like really rich, who would you tell? Your best mate? Your mum? Would you post a cheeky photo from Santorini and wait for the comments to come in? Or would you say nothing? Because here's the final test. Can you sit with your own success without needing applause? It's tempting, I know, but once people know, things change. The questions start, the requests pile in, and the pressure builds. And you're forever branded as, it's alright for you. So, maybe when the money comes, whether it's through investing, a business, or a win, or just smart choices stacked up over time, like hopefully we will achieve with investing, maybe you tell no one, or maybe just one person, someone who will treat you exactly the same, someone who doesn't just want anything from you. Those are the right kind of people you want to surround yourself with, and I'm sure we would all like to help those closest to us too, just in the right way. Those are the people you want to protect, and protect yourself. So let me know in the comments who you would tell, and if you want to double your savings this month or have your best financial year yet, these videos will help you get there much quicker. Thanks for watching. I think this is a really interesting topic, so check those videos out and I'll catch you over there. Thanks.